What is going on, everybody? Welcome back to TCG Madness. Happy Friday to you all. And today we are going to do what I like to do most, and that's build you guys another deck for Altered TCG. And like I said, we're going through all of the heroes again, all the factions, but we're going to go give them some updated versions, especially with the new set, Trial by Frost. So real quick, too, while I have your attention, please do me the big favor, hit that like button. If you're new, consider hitting that subscribe button. And please comment down below, like the deck, don't like the deck. And like I always do, I'm going to go through the hero itself, then I'm going to go through every card in the deck, why I put it in the deck, and I'll show you guys the deck stats, and then I'm also going to show you a sideboard in case maybe you want to take the deck in a different direction, because I know sometimes when we build these decks, there's so many different ways you can really build a deck now with Altered TCG. I think that's one of the big things why they probably didn't give us any new heroes with the new set. I've been thinking about that lately. I think they wanted to just kind of give us a bunch of new cards for those heroes so we can get some updated support for those heroes. And I gotta be honest, so far I'm really enjoying that, going through the deck build process all over again for all the heroes and all the factions and seeing what really works. So for this deck, last time I built a Kojo and Booda deck, I pretty much just went the biggest, baddest, strongest characters I can come with, that can come with this deck. For this time, we're going to do something a little bit differently with this Kojo deck. So this is basically Kojo Sprint. We're going to do a little bit of a Kojo ramp. I know it's nothing new, but I wanted to put my little spin on it, and I wanted to give my attempt at building this deck. So here's the deck itself. If you guys want to pause the screen, you guys can see the deck in its entirety right there. If you want to pause it, take a look at it, and go ahead and maybe comment down below, like the deck, don't like the deck. Again, I'm going to go through the hero real quick, go through the deck, go through the stats, and then show you guys the sideboard. So without further ado, let's go ahead, just in case you forgot who the hero is. This is Kojo and Booda. Bravo's hero, of course, to reserve 2 landmarks. At noon, if you are the first player, create a Booda 2/2 companion token in your companion expedition. So again, when it's your turn, you basically got a nice little token, 2 across the board. Pretty good card there. I think the last time I did it, pretty much just went with a Kojo boost, and pretty much the biggest, baddest characters out there. Pretty much my goal with the last time I built this deck was to pretty much get you to this, just sprint to the finish line, get there as quickly as possible. But this time I'm going to do the exact same thing, but I'm just going to allow us to ramp there first. So let's go ahead and go through the deck itself, starting with the characters. We have 1 copy of a rare Tiny Jin 12020. If I would leave the Expedition Zone while I'm boosted, put me in my owner's mana zone. And then, of course, if you play at your reserve, it does gain a boost. So if you do play him out of the reserve, and in that time he will be boosted, he will most likely go to the mana zone, so you get a little bit of a ramp, unless, of course, your opponent removes it. For the new set, we have 3 copies of Fire Rabbit. I absolutely love this card. It's a simple 1/1 for a 1/1/0. When you play out of your hand, you may have me gain fleeting. If you do, another target character gains 1 boost. That little combo right there, Fire Rabbit, Tiny Jin, I mean, you can do that in your opening hand right here. I mean, it's real simple. It's something I would probably teeter with this a little bit. I think I actually want to try and get either 2 or 3 copies of this. I just got to manipulate the deck a little bit more, but I'll show you what I kind of built with. So moving on, I do have 2 copies of the regular Tiny Jin. Again, 2/3 for a 0/3/0. If I would leave the Expedition Zone while I'm boosted, put me in my owner's mana zone. And again, coming out of the reserve, it's going to gain a boost. I would like to try and manipulate this deck to either get another copy of this rare and reduce this either to 1 or 0, and either have 2 or 3 copies of Tiny Jin. This right here, this play 1 right here is really something special, man. Fire Rabbit into Tiny Jin, really good little combo that you can pull off very early. Maybe I would probably reduce maybe some copies of this card, Bravo's Tracer 2/2. I have 3 copies of the rare. It's a 4/3/4, very powerful, and it does, of course, when you play it, I gain fleeting. We have ways, of course, to get rid of that fleeting, just like with this card, Bravo's Vanguard 3/3 for a 4/2/2. You may have another target character lose fleeting. Just 2 copies of that one, because we do have the rare version of it, which does state that and gain a boost. So lose fleeting and gain a boost. If you play that with Bravo's Tracer is going to be very powerful. So you're looking at a 4/3/4 with an extra boost. That's going to be a 5/4/5, and it's going to lose fleeting, which then will hopefully put it back to your reserve so you can play it again. So pretty good little combo there as well. We also have 2 copies of a regular Sun Wukong. 3/4 for a 2/4/2, gains 2 boosts when you play it out of reserve. And we do have the 1 copy of the rare version, which does state it loses fleeting. Pretty much you guys see the theme of the deck, right? Lose fleeting, big powerful characters, sprint to the finish line as quickly as we can. Of course, we are ramping, so I did put 2 copies of Tomo Gozen 3/3 for a 2/5/5. I can't be played if you have less than 6 mana orbs. And again, we are playing a little bit of ramp because we have Tiny Jin, and we also have this big guy right here. We have the Mighty Jin in this deck as well, which is a 4/3 for 4/4/0. If I would leave the Expedition Zone, you may put me in my owner's mana zone instead. So there you have it. Play this, ramp up, and do some big big play moves. The big play moves we are going for are these cards right here. We have one copy of the regular Shenlong, 6/6, 8 across the board, and then we also have one rare version as well, which is a 6/6, 9 across the board, and it has tough 1. This toughness is going to be a big thing moving forward as well, guys, because there's more removal now, especially with Trial by Frost, and there's a lot of cards that also, I've seen a lot of uniques, including some that even I pulled, that basically say like, hey, play this and remove something, or so you never know with the uniques as well today. It seems like they're going to be having some more removal onto them. That's one big thing that I saw a lot of people not complaining about, but they were stating, like a lot of people that play the game a lot, they're saying, hey man, we need more removal in this game. Personally, I disagree. I think less removal is actually better. I think ways to stymie your opponent's a little bit better, or like freeze your opponent, but just straight up removal. I'm not always all for it. You know, I don't want to get to that point where we're playing Yu-Gi-Oh here, we're playing Ash Blossoms. So hopefully there's that good balance, and I think so far Alter TCG has accomplished that for the most part. I had one more card to fill out a spot, so I just threw this in there. Kayabara Asgardian Leviathan, 8/8, 6 across the board, gigantic, and of course it has tough, where the number of regions between your hero and companion are. So pretty nice card there. So that's it for the characters. Moving on to the spells, this is where we get a little bit more tricky. I have 2 copies of the rare physical training, 3/3, target character gains 3 boost and draws a card. Again, two copies of that one. I do have 1 copy of the regular, which is a 2/3 and gains 3 boost. We also have 2 copies of the regular Helping Hand for a 1/2, target character gains 1 boost and loses fleeting, another great card to pair up with Bravo's Tracer. And then of course we have the rare version of Helping Hand, 1 copy for a 1/1, has fleeting, and target character gains 2 boost and loses fleeting. That extra 2 boost definitely comes in handy. For the removals, we have 3 copies of Intimidation. I thought about going with Mana Geyser to give us a little more of ramp. I did put that in the sideboard, so if you want to go the full like ramp route and you want to put the Mana Geyser in there, totally understandable. But for now, I just went with the cheaper, more cost efficient with this deck, because we do have a lot of big card plays like Shenlong, Kabayathan, Mighty Jin, you know, stuff like that. We have a lot of 4s and 6s, and we do have a ton of 3s, right? A good amount of 3s. Maybe Eros is also a good card to maybe play in there. Also a card that I sideboarded as well. This is where it gets a little bit fun for me. This is I put the permanents in there. So the permanents that I put in are 2 copies of the rare Eat Me energy bars, 2/2, gains fleeting. If there is only 1 character in my expedition zone, it gains gigantic. There is definitely a, you know, if you get Bravo's Tracer, you get Mighty Jin, if you even get Shenlong with the Eat Me energy bars, that's going to be a pretty big play for you, no doubt about that, and it's definitely something your opponent's going to have to worry about. The other permanent I went with is also the Technical Boots. It's a 1/1. You play me in an expedition. If it moves forward, I go to the reserve during rest, and it states, when my expedition moves forward, target character in my expedition loses fleeting. Another great card to pair with your Bravo's Tracer, because again, early plays definitely can do that, right? Bravo's Tracer is 2, Technical Boots is 1, definitely a good day 2 play. And of course, we also have the beautiful landmark of Haven Bravos Bastion. Your character's out of your reserve, gains a boost, very powerful card. Definitely think it's pretty much a staple in almost every Bravos deck at this point. And then the last card I have is 1 copy of a 3/3, the Spindle Moon of Bastion. Characters you control have tough 2. 1 copy, if you draw it, definitely play this card. Again, like I just mentioned earlier in this video, a removal is becoming more prominent in Alter TCG. Giving your cards a little more protection, I think, is definitely needed. Just 1 copy in it. If you're able to draw right into that, perfect. Don't get rid of it. Play it. So that is the deck itself right there. Let's take a look at the stats. You can see hand cost, reserve cost. Hand cost, pretty good on the 2s and 3s, good on the 1s, decent on the 4s, 6s, and of course the 8s. Of course, being just 1 card really right there. For reserve cost, heavies on the 2s and 3s, good on the 1s, and decent on the 4s, and then we got only for the 1 each of the 6 and the 8s. Attributes, this is where we get really good stuff here. We get some really good stats. 68 in the forest, 79 in the mountain, guys, and 57 in the ocean. Originally, these stats were pretty weak until I added the copies of the Tomo Gozen to really give it some much needed firepower. I had another card in there, but then I looked at the attributes and I was like, these attributes are a little too weak. Like ocean was like in almost, I think like the high 40s, and the rest of it was in the mid 60s. I wanted to really boost that up, so putting Tomo Gozens in there and the Leviathan definitely boosted these stats. Of course, I don't have any uniques, as you guys can see, because again, I don't know what your unique situation looks like. So of course, there's that wiggle room of being able to remove 3 simple cards that you don't want and just adding your uniques. We also have for the types, 9 spells, 8 permanents, and 22 characters. Again, you guys can let me know if this is a good split. If you like this deck, don't like this deck, please comment down below why or why not. With that being said, let's go ahead and shift over to the sideboard in case you guys want to take this deck and build it into a different direction. All right. For the sideboard, again, like I said, this is just more recommendations. If you didn't like my previous deck, you want maybe take it in a different direction, no problem. I got you covered. Here's some other cards with the sideboard, or maybe again, if you were going to a tournament and they allow you to have a sideboard, maybe these are the cards that maybe you put on the side in case you come across different scenarios. The first card I have sideboarded is Bravo's Trailblazer, 2/3 for 2s across the board. We do have a lot of different ways of gaining fleeting and also characters having fleeting, which is just natural in the game anyways. So this card states that I gain a boost for each fleeting character you control. You will come across a couple of times where you will gain about 2 or 3 fleeting characters. Of course, you have a way to remove fleeting as well. So maybe this is a card that really isn't needed, but if you wanted to go in that direction, totally understandable. The other card I went with the sideboard is a Haven Warrior. So maybe if you don't want Tomo Gozen, you want something with a nice even 4/4/4 more powerful stat split. 3/3, 4s across the boards is really good. This card is surprisingly actually really good in a lot of decks just because it does boost up your stats. So if you want to get an additional boost, this card will definitely help you out with that. Plus, it's quick action, also pretty good. The next character you play this turn gains a boost. So not a bad card to sideboard. The other card, if you want to go more with that toughness, as I stated again earlier in this video, removals becoming more prominent. Achilles will definitely help you out with that. 5/5 for a 5/6/6, and he has tough too. So really good card there. And of course, this card I may slide in the main deck as well. This is Eros. Maybe remove Shenlong and put Eros in there. I really think this card is going to be a home run staple in just about every Bravos deck, just because for just 7s, even if you just ramp, you can get there pretty quickly. But we have slight ramp in this deck, so it won't be difficult to get to that 7 mana pretty early. But for a 3/5/5, which again seems pretty lousy for a 7/7, it's really just this right down here, man. You may immediately play a character for 3 or less. We have plenty of cards that cost 3 or less, and it gains 2 boosts. Bravo's Tracer, Tomo Gozen, which that, by the way, that's a really good card right there too, right? Dropping Tomo Gozen for, basically for free by just playing Eros, Tomo Gozen gains 2 boosts. It's a pretty good card right there as well. That's a little good combo as well. Tiny Jin, maybe if you haven't ramped successfully enough, Eros might be able to help you out with that, so you get additional ramp and boosting up. Maybe you got the rare version. Sun Wukong's another great card that goes with this. I mean, there's just so many good cards that you can play for 3 or less mana for free by just dropping an Eros. It's a really good card. Most likely, I probably would remove Shenlong and drop this in there, but of course, that might hurt my stats a little bit. But again, I really just think this is just one of the best cards right now, especially coming out of the new set, Trial by Frost. And I did mention this too. We have Geyser. It's a 4/3, return target character or permanent to its owner's hand. Then you may put me in your mana orb. Again, a little bit of pseudo removal and ramp as well, so I kind of like that card. And the other card that I thought about putting in there that could also be a good game win for you is Icebound Peak. I just don't know where this would go. I think it's probably going to go more in the ramp deck, but for now, I don't have it in the main deck. I may slide it in. It's a 2/2. When a character you control gains fleeting, I gain a trial counter. When I gain my 3rd trial counter, sacrifice me. If you do, create a dragon Shade 5/5 illusion token in target expedition. Then each character you control gains a boost. Definitely sounds like a card that probably should be the main deck. I just don't know what to take out, man. I really just don't. So this is something I'm gonna have to mess with a little bit. Again, the beauty of Altered TCG right now, guys, is that there are so many different ways to build any one deck. There is no more one direction. There's at least 3 different directions, right? You could put Kojo and ramp. You could do Kojo and big baddies, right? You could just do big bad powerful creatures. You could do Kojo boost and totally take in a different direction. So you could do pretty much all 3 things that pretty much Bravos wants to do, right? Ramp, boost, or just play big bad powerful creatures, right? Just put Kappa in there, put Haven Warrior in there, like anything, Bravo's Tracer in there, Ratatasker in there, and just do stuff like that. Like definitely it's a joy right now to be playing Alter TCG, building these decks and seeing all the different patterns you can take. Comment down below what your favorite Kojo deck style is. Let me know down below. And if you made it this far in the video, please give it a thumbs up. And as always, guys, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. I'll see you guys next time.